Nostradamus describes emptying my soul, mind, and heart of all care, worry, and unease through mental claim and tranquility. But his frequent references to the bronze tripod of the Delphic rite are usually preceded by the words "as though."
Healer. Nostradamus was not only a diviner,
yes,
but a professional healer too. We know that he wrote at least 2 books on medical science. One contained an alleged
translation
of
Galen.
And I read every other word. Okay, sorry. And his so-called
Traits des Ferments.
Basically a medical cookbook containing, once again, materials borrowed mainly from others. He introduced a description of the methods he used to treat the plague, none of which, not even the bloodletting, apparently worked. The same book also describes the preparation of cosmetics.
Bloodletting was a thought that if the person bled, the disease would just escape the body, which ultimately led to more infected.
They bled you in those days for a lot of things. They bled you for blood pressure. They bled you for disease. They bled you for headache. I, in a past life, was bled. Right here, I have a birthmark, and I was bled out to a point where I died.
Do you remember why you were bled out?
Blood pressure.
Blood pressure. Manuscript. A manuscript, normally known as the
Horus Apollo,
also existed in the
Lyon Municipal Library,
where upwards of 2,000 original documents relating to Nostradamus are stored under the
aegis
of
Michael Comarat.
It is purported translation of an ancient Greek work of Egyptian hieroglyphs based on later Latin versions, all of them unfortunately
ignorant
of the true meaning of the ancient Egyptian script, which was not in fact deciphered until the advent
of Champollion
in the 19th century. Now this continues on with Nostradamus, but this is in a question and answer format. I'll ask the question. You want to read the answers?
Sure.
Okay, what was Nostradamus' day job?
Nostradamus was educated as a physician and was noted for his work during the plagues of the 16th century. In later years, he worked as an astrologer to clients who included the Queen of France.
Now, up here later on, when they said in Healers, most of the stuff that he wrote didn't work. But he is known as being able to help, heal, and survive the plague. So something he did worked.
Well, this was about astrology, not necessarily.
It says Nostradamus was educated as a physician and was noted for his work.
Yes.
During the plague of the 16th century.
In later years, he worked as an astrologer to clients who included the Queen of France.
Do you think it was because he was getting a bad reputation as a bad healer?
No, I think it was because he was misunderstood and because it was that time in the centuries where if you performed magic, you'd be crucified or burned at the stake.
I'm just going to throw this out. Do you think he may have written some material just like Chris Angel does to throw off the conspiracy? Or
most definitely, yes.
What I'm trying to say is Chris Angel...
the magician.
Does perform...
Who is a magician who performs some pretty miraculous tricks.
We'll throw in a few cheesy ones just to make people think that he is. Yeah, to throw people off. I think that Nostradamus, what is it, cunning as a fox or something like that, or dumb as a fox. They act dumb, but they're very smart. There's a statement like that. Okay, going on to the next one. What did Nostradamus write?
Apart from his professional works, in which no one is really interested, he produced a number of prophetic works. We discern between the centuries and the prognostications. The prognostications are like an almanac. They contain a series of predictions about the next year. Because these predictions were fulfilled or not, more than 440 years ago, few are interested in them. The really interesting stuff is the centuries. The name comes from the fact that each century contains 100 prophetic verses of 4 lines. These verses are called quatrains. Nostradamus wrote 10 centuries, which are commonly numbered by the Roman numerals 1 to 10.
Now, when he goes into here and saying the people that are mostly not interested in his professional work, there again, if he did get a few things right when he wasn't doing it professionally,
and if
he could turn around and refer back to,
they didn't notice.
Well, look at my published work. This is what, and I've been discredited. I've been proven to be a, you know what I mean? Don't behead me. Don't fry me on a stick. I'm not what you think I am. I'm actually a fake, because look at what I did here. In all actuality, getting his message out quietly and secretly all along. And what kind of verse did Nostradamus write? Do these verses, numbers, have anything to do with the dates when the events are to occur?
Nostradamus left his predictions in the form of several letters, almost 1,000 4-line verses called quatrains, the centuries.
Wait, listen. I can barely hear the music.
Because it's just,
Ooh.
the song is just starting.
Oh, okay.
And a collection of 6-line verses called sixains. The prophecies are not sequential by date. Some interesting coincidences have been observed between the quatrain number in the centuries and the last 2 digits of the year of the corresponding event, but this is not uniformly true.
It seems like there are many earthquakes, volcanoes, blizzards, cancer deaths, etc. today than ever before. Didn't Nostradamus predict that these things would happen at the end of the world?
No. There are various prophecies that can be interpreted as earthquakes, bad weather, even global climate change. It seems that occurrences of these events are to increase around the time of troubles and the rise of the Antichrist. Nostradamus specifically said in one of his letters that he does not predict the end of the world. He also stated that his prophecies extend out several thousand years, which is far beyond the present age. The perception that there are more bad events than ever before may also be an artifact of observation. There have always been fires, earthquakes, genocide, wars, etc. It's just that CNN has not been around until recently.
That's my point, and I have just recently said this about when people say it appears that there is more death and destruction, negativity, and evil in this world than at any other time in history. No, wrong. Information gets out faster than any other time in history. What is an actual fact is there are more people living on this planet today than there has ever lived before that has come before us. There are less negative people and more positive people. There is less evil in the world. If you look by percentage-wise, we're 1% or less of the population is evil. Whereas in the past, it was a much higher number. Population was much lower. People are learning to live side by side one another, living peacefully. And if you look just back 100 years ago, people that would look at our modern time would see us be living in comfort, see us having an abundance of food and water and medical and education. They would think we were already in the Garden of Eden.
They think we were all witches.
They would think that we have longer lifespans, we have better quality of life, we live in a very positive world, friendly, side by side, neighbors are not shooting and killing.
Music from a box.
Yeah. What is it about this day and age that makes people think that because an earthquake occurs, that it was God's wrath? And I talked about this a little bit last week on X Factors. I recommend people go to the website, download that podcast. There's a whole article in my blog about the reasons for natural disasters and how it's not God's wrath. Okay, let's go on to the next
one. Question 5.
Okay. Did Nostradamus say the world would end in 1984, 1999, 2000, 2012?
In all actuality, none of them. Nostradamus clearly stated in plain French that his prophecies would extend to the year 3797. See preface. It is not clear whether this or is not the end of the world, E. Leone stated.